Hello sweet friends and welcome to the Rebookery channel. It's Gina and I am here to show you a flip through of my completed altered book junk journal thing that I'd been working on since I want to say March. So you guys helped me pick out this cookbook. If you remember, I had several and I said, which one do you think I should use? And we settled on this one, and oh my gosh, look at how full this thing is. I am in love. Like, of all my altered books, and I say this about all of them, but yeah, this one I really love. So let me show you the last one I did. Remember this one? So this one was, oh my goodness. Actually, you know what? I think this might have gone, because this was when we were at home in lockdown last spring. So you know what? I think this actually went through June. So I started this in January 2020 and this one went through June. And then this one picked up in June and went until I made it last all the way to December. So yeah, so just a size comparison. Look at how much more full this one is than this one. And so then here is the one I just started. So here's this one, a little bit different size, a little bit bigger. And I'll do a flip through of this one too in a different video. But you can see how thin this one is. It's really skinny. Let me show you. Get these out. See how skinny this is? That's because, and if you remember when we made this one, it was the same way. So we bulk them up here at the edge so that we can fill all the pages with all of our stickers and photos and papers and all that good stuff. So you can see this one's it looks like an alligator's mouth right now, but as it grows in this section right here, it'll become more rounded. And the beautiful thing about adding the fabric scraps, and I added some really heavy fabric scraps on this one, is that this is, unless I go putting like a box or something in here, this is as thick as it will be, because this will always be the thickest part of my journal, and it won't get any thicker because I've already put everything on the edges, if that makes any sense. So we'll do this one at another time, and we'll flip through this one today. So if you remember, for my, let me make sure I'm in frame here. For my altered book junk journals, I remove a lot of the pages, probably 3/4 of the pages. And I just use this as my everyday journal. A lot of times I will journal outside if it's warm, or I'll sit in front of the TV and I'll just have like a container of pens, and I'll just kind of do some doodling and stuff. But I also do my gratitude type of journaling, and that's something that I really just kind of developed in the last two journals, where it was a spread and it would have several days worth of my gratitude journaling. And so a lot of my gratitude journaling, like this is one, you won't see that I've written a bunch. There will just be a lot of pictures. And while it may not make sense to you, they all have some meaning, and there's something in them that I'm very grateful for. And so I was doing really well at doing once a day and dating it. But once August hit and school started back up, things didn't go so well. And so it was really hard for me to stick to that. So I pretty much would just pick this up and do my gratitude journaling, maybe on the weekend. Maybe I'd sit down for a couple hours and I'd kind of catch up. So you'll kind of see the differences and stuff as we go through this. Okay, let me get some stuff out of the way here. All right, here we go. So this was a spread when I went back to school. This is a magazine, a photo of me. I use a lot of my Dick and Jane book. That I have 2 of these that are totally falling apart, and they've been marked on and ripped up, and so I love using these in my journals. So I'll probably just kind of flip through and tell you just a little bit about each one, but I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. This was my month of September, so you'll see my months don't go in order. I did have a lot of writing on this one. This was a very high stress time for me, so not a lot of creativity. It was mostly just writing things down. I did a lot of learning last summer, a lot of growing, a lot of unlearning things that I had grown up being told were true and then realized they were not. And so that was a huge epiphany for me, and I wanted to write those things down. I wanted to do a lot of self-reflection with my new learning that I was doing. This was a gratitude spread. We did, this summer we did a huge renovation in our house. And so I made sure that I captured as much as I could. Didn't have a lot of photos that I put in here of the remodel, but just the things that we did. This was my month of June. This was a gratitude. Looks like this was in August. There was a strawberry moon in June, and I wanted to record this. This was one of the first drawings I did in this journal, and it was a flower, and I'd been working on how to draw flowers the right way and making them look, like a flower. And I had been working with my art teacher at school, whom I love, right before we went into quarantine back in March. And so this was one of the first flowers I did in this journal because I was proud of my new skills that I had learned. My backyard, last year I spent a lot of time in my backyard, and these were all of my friends that I have in my backyard. And so this was one of my first spreads I did in this journal. This was this was gratitude, and this was in September. And so you can see I did a lot of fall things. Another gratitude also in September, or this was actually October. Found a really cool book called The Color Kittens. I had a couple of them. They're little golden books, and one was just totally destroyed, and oh my gosh, I love it. So I pulled a lot of illustrations from that. This page, I think, was actually a page I actually stuck in here. As I got towards December, I realized that I needed to add some more pages because I wanted this to go all the way until January. So I added a bunch of new pages. I taped them in. This was my November. And I love this. I was starting to get back into the creativity and having Thanksgiving break and stuff. Really kind of got my juices going again. And so I really love this month of November. Here's another picture from that, or illustration. These are both illustrations from that, the Color Kittens Golden Book. This was in the summer because this was when my kids went to Colorado and New Mexico with masks, by the way. I was like, okay, when you come back, we are not seeing each other for 10 to 14 days. And so they were very, very careful. They were out in the mountains, and then they went into quarantine when they came back, so we didn't see them for a while. But yeah, this was sometime in the summer. I don't really see a date on this one. I'm gonna say this was probably around, oh, there we go. It was in July. So this was, I might have done a process video on this. I can't remember. This was an envelope from a sweet, sweet friend. She had given me a card, and it was actually, she had given me the card like over a year ago. I cut it down and turned it into a little fold out, and just did some journaling and stuff on it. I'm pretty sure I did a video on that. This is just a photo I had of my son. I stuck it in here. This was from a long time ago. And one of the things about being on shutdown was my, well, we all got pretty resourceful, but my 21-year-old, he found his Pokemon cards from when he was a little kid. And so he's actually got he's got a group of friends. They are Pokemon battlers. Like, they collect the cards and they battle. And I know that sounds like such a funny thing for 20-year-olds to be doing that, but oh my gosh, yeah, he has so much fun with that. And we found his cards when we were doing the remodel of our house. So this was just recently, because this right here, this was, we had gone back, I want to say this is in November. Oh, actually this was the beginning of December. So this is gratitude page. We had gone back to being all online at school. And so that means I'm in my classroom by myself and I'm talking to a computer all day. And so one of the things I did was I set my classroom up like a coffee house and I would play jazz. Like on YouTube, you can stream like Starbucks jazz and stuff like that. And so I would stream this. I had my Christmas lights up in my room that I have on all the time, and the rest of the lights were down low. And my kids would hang out with me on the Google Meets, and they would listen to my coffee house jazz while they were doing their lessons. So yeah, this was kind of cool. I got a new bird feeder for my birthday, and so I wanted to make sure I put that in. This is again this summer when I was doing some of this really, really important learning and just really finding out some serious things about life and history. And it was so powerful. I just wanted to record it. And I used images from that Dick and Jane book. This was gratitude, and this was a lot of gratitude. I put, this was in June, so I tried to put as much in as possible. A lot of my gratitude is things that preoccupy my mind, so I don't have to think about what's, all the negativity and stuff that's in the world. And so a lot of the shows I watch, like Seinfeld and Friends, I'll quote those and put them into my gratitude, because you know what? I'm grateful for things like that. This was just recently. I think this was my, oh my gosh. Yeah, look, okay. This, I believe, yep, last journal entry. So this was the very last journal entry I put into this journal, and it was on 12/21. So this was just not too long ago. This was when Jupiter and Saturn were so close together out in the sky, and I'd been watching them. Again, this is from the summer and some things that I wanted to write down and remember, some really, really powerful things. This was about John Lewis. This was just a spread I had done this summer. This is a picture of me and my mom and my dad and just some journaling about that, and two of my old school pictures. Just had these extra pages in here, and I put this little envelope in. This was completely different. I don't even know what it looked like before, but I know it didn't look like this. I just sat down one day in December and just totally rehabbed the whole spread, added this envelope, tucked in some cards and stuff that I had gotten from some friends, and documented the moon. This was really powerful. Black Lives Matter movement, and just some very, very powerful things that I wanted to remember and I wanted to acknowledge, and so I put them in this journal. This was a very empowering journal. I was so proud of the things I put in this journal. It was something that I will go back and I look at some of these things just as a refresher, almost like a textbook, So just some self-love affirmations as I'm listening to podcasts. This is actually a dried flower. So I really got into dried flowers. Oh my gosh, last spring. Yeah, when we were in shutdown. And so I would go out and I would pick flowers from my garden and I would microwave dry them and I would put them in my journal. Let me show you my box. Okay, so this is all of my dried leaves and flowers that I collected over the last, well, since April, March, April. So yeah, and all of these are microwave dried. And I think I've showed you a couple of videos where I've used these things before, but so I've got big plans for these guys. And I cannot wait to show you how I'm going to use them. But I had put some of them in my journals, and then I got a laminator, and so I picked these tags up at a, oh my gosh, a thrift store back when I went to thrift stores, which was, I've not been to a thrift store since, well, since March of 2020. So these I picked up a long time ago, but I did this with an iron and it got too hot because it bubbled a little bit. But I actually got a laminator, and so putting these flowers through the laminator, yeah, that's super cool stuff. So anyway, a lot of these are things that I picked in the fall, the ones that are on top, just as everything was starting to die. I ran out and grabbed some of the things. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to use these in some projects that I have coming up, but this is one of them, and I just used some gel medium, I think, to put that in there. This is Gratitude, and this was in September. This was just some drawing of houses. I really was, something about these colors just drew me in, and I just, yeah, this is just one, there's no purpose behind it other than I just truly loved it. A list of, oh, this was Thanksgiving. I'd made a list of things I wanted to do for Thanksgiving dinner. And then this is, what is this? Oh, the grocery list that my husband took to the store when he was buying all our stuff for a Thanksgiving feast. And I say Thanksgiving feast, there was only 6 of us, but still, it was a feast. Thanksgiving is our favorite holiday. A photo of some butterfly bush from my garden this summer. This was, what would this be? This is Gratitude. Oh, it's July. So this is the end of July, Gratitude. This was Gratitude. I'm trying to see when the date is. I hate it when I don't date things, and then I stumble around trying to figure out when it is. But, okay, so this was the summer, because this was some podcasts that I was listening to, and okay, I had actually, okay, here we go. Here's something funny. This was the first time, this was the end of July, because this was the first time I had gone to the grocery store since we had been in shutdown. And I went to my grocery store that's just right here in my little town, and I actually did the grocery shopping. So that was like a huge thing. So I wanted to document that. But how many times have I been to the grocery store since then? 0. Because I don't like the grocery store under normal conditions, but you throw COVID in there and I really don't like it. So I have a husband who does not mind going to the grocery store, so I am very, very lucky. This was July, and my color palette for this was the colors that we were painting our house, because we were doing the house painting part of our renovation during this time. So this was like our interior colors. Just another spread of just haphazard things, some flowers that I had tried to draw, produce stickers, an envelope that was tipped in, and then some series and things that I was watching. So The Haunting of Hill House, I can't even tell you how much I love that. It was on Netflix. It's amazing. And then we started watching Schitt's Creek, and we actually just finished this up, and oh my God, just so funny, so funny. And so I just wanted to kind of record that. I was starting to get into some Halloween stuff here. This was when my kiddos came back from New Mexico, and so this was like the beginning of July, and this was about my son's socks. I don't know, just was thinking that this looked like a night in July with the fireflies. I had done this page way back in March or April, And then finally came back a couple weeks ago and finished. This was blank for the longest time, and I finished that up. There was a moon that I saw back in October 1st. This is gratitude, and boy, I put a lot of gratitude in this one. And I love using the Dick and Jane pictures in here just because it just kind of, I don't know, there's something about using that with like 70s stickers and stuff that just, I love the difference between them. Okay, so this was August. Let me see here. Yeah, so this was my August month, and you can see it's very sparse because I was in high stress mode here. So yeah, I didn't have a lot to say that was nice. So it just stayed like that. This again, I had done and kind of left it, and then came back just recently and put this in. This is a picture of a turtle that we call her Maxie, and she lives at our house, and we see her every year. And so this was the last time I saw Maxie this year, which would have been 2020. It was in like October, and we had a rain, and I had already thought she had gone, but it was extremely warm this October. So I saw her, she was underneath a bush, and so I took a quick picture and I stuck that in here. This is October and my birthday month, and there were 3 really cool moons in October. Actually, this one is a new moon, but there were 2 full moons in October, if you guys remember that. So I wanted to document that. This is an envelope that I put in, and I just this was just some crazy little sitting on the couch one day, and I literally think I sat on the couch for probably 7 hours that day, and just totally, I mean, markers and paints and pens, and then images from that book, The Color Kittens, some book text, and I just, yeah, I really love it. It has no purpose other than, it doesn't mean anything other than it just made me happy. Rainbows, cards from friends. This was a picture from a book. It's a little golden book, and I think it's The 5 Senses. It's a 70s book. Oh my God. And it's a small little golden book. It's like the Telltale book, I think. And so I just love it. I love the 70s clothes because that's so my growing up. And so this was a book page, and I just added a bunch of stuff to it. And then this is December. This was my December. And yeah, just kind of wrote down, did a lot of blue with markers and just a lot of pictures, and not a lot of writing here. I did write down a few things, like when Jupiter and Saturn were together in the sky. But that's, yeah, as I was doing this, the song Silver Bells was going through my head because of this image right here. And this was from another, it might have been from this same book, but it was people walking in the city, and it was raining, and I just had this little piece of it from the book, and for whatever reason that just triggered and made me think of the song Silver Bells. And so that was like, this whole thing is just kind of, I always had silver bells going through my head as I was finishing up this spread. And so yeah, there it is. That's my journal that I've been using, and I love it, and it just fits in my hands perfectly. And yeah, this is got to be one of my absolute favorite journals ever. And I know I say that all the time, but I really mean it about this one. There's so much of me in here. There's so much thoughtfulness and mindfulness and love and learning that is in this. And I just, yeah, it's a very special one. All right, my friends, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you got some inspiration as I did this flip through, and I will do a flip through of my new journal coming up soon. In the meantime, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're happy, and I hope you do something creative today. Bye.